I guess you could say I was operating under the delusion that love was a meritocracy. Work hard, be a good provider, anticipate needs, and you'd get, well, something back. Reciprocity, maybe? Turns out, it was more like a rigged game. The house always wins, and I was betting with Monopoly money. Looking back, the signs were there, weren't they always? Little digs disguised as jokes. The constant repositioning of the goalposts. I just kept running, kept trying to level up, thinking if I reached some invisible milestone, then I'd earn her respect. Earn? God. That word tastes like ash now. Like I was trying to buy something that was never for sale. And the punchline? I didn't even realize I was broke until she laughed. It wasn't always like that, though. Sarah, she used to be different. Vibrant. Funny. We connected on this weird, sarcastic level. Shared a love for old movies and bad puns. But somewhere along the line, the sarcasm turned sharper. The jokes colder. It started subtly. A raised eyebrow when I'd tell a story, a dismissive, "That's nice," when I shared something I was proud of. Then came the demands. The house wasn't big enough. The car wasn't fancy enough. My job. Well, my job was never enough. I was always falling short, always needing to do better. And the affection? It became a bargaining chip. A reward for good behavior. A punishment for, well, for being me, I guess. So, I came up with this plan. A weekend getaway. I booked a cabin up in the mountains, the kind with a fireplace and a hot tub overlooking the woods. I even remembered her favorite wine. Pathetic, right? The whole thing felt like groveling. But I told myself it was an investment. An investment in us. In what we used to be. Telling her was the hardest part. I waited until after dinner, when she was scrolling through her phone, barely acknowledging my existence. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "I was thinking, maybe we could get away for a weekend. Just the two of us." The silence that followed felt like an eternity. Like waiting for a verdict. Then she laughed. Not a chuckle, not a polite giggle. A full-blown, head-thrown-back laugh. The kind you hear when someone tells a genuinely hilarious joke. Except, I wasn't telling a joke. I was laying my heart bare, offering a lifeline. And she was laughing. I just stared at her, dumbfounded. My face probably looked like I'd been slapped. "What's so funny?" I finally managed to choke out. She wiped a tear from her eye, still smiling. "You," she said. "You actually think a weekend in the woods is going to fix this?" Then she dropped the bomb. Why would I fix something I never valued? The words hung in the air, heavier than any accusation, colder than any insult. It wasn't anger, it was indifference. Like she was discussing the merits of a broken toaster oven. Years. Years of birthdays, anniversaries, Christmases. Years of working late to pay for the renovations she wanted. The vacations she demanded. Years of biting my tongue, swallowing my pride, trying to be the man she wanted me to be. All of it, reduced to nothing. Worthless. In that moment, I saw myself through her eyes. A fool. A chump. Someone she tolerated, not loved. I didn't say anything. What was there to say? I just turned and walked out. Our bedroom suddenly felt like enemy territory. I grabbed a pillow and a blanket and went to the guest room. It smelled faintly of dust and disuse. The bed was too short, the pillows were lumpy. But none of that mattered. What mattered was the silence. The deafening silence that stretched between that room and hers. It was a physical manifestation of everything she'd just said. A monument to my failure. I lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying the conversation over and over, trying to find some hidden meaning, some glimmer of hope. There was nothing. I didn't sleep. At least, I don't remember sleeping. When the first sliver of dawn peeked through the blinds, I got up, showered, dressed, packed a bag, like I was going on a business trip. No shouting, no slammed doors, no dramatic confrontations, just a quiet, almost clinical departure. I left a note on the kitchen counter. I'm done. That was it. 3 words to sum up years of my life. As I walked out the door, I glanced back at the house, at the life I thought I had, and I felt nothing, just a hollow ache, a resigned acceptance that it was finally over. People think walking away is brave. Sometimes it's just practical. The messy part came later. The lawyers, the paperwork, the division of assets. Suddenly, every dollar I'd ever earned was under scrutiny. Every sacrifice I'd made, quantified and debated. The house, of course, was the biggest battle. She wanted it all, claimed she deserved it. And maybe she did. Maybe I owed her for all those years of, what? Putting up with me? The renovations I paid for, the vacations. The clothes, all factored into some twisted equation where I was perpetually in debt. I wasn't angry, just exhausted. Like I was paying for a crime I didn't commit. The crime of loving someone who never loved me back. We never had kids. Part of me always wanted them. I pictured coaching Little League, teaching someone to ride a bike. All that Norman Rockwell crap. Sarah, she was never really on board. Said it would ruin her figure, her career. Looking back, I think she just didn't want to share the spotlight. Didn't want to be anything other than the center of attention. So, no kids. Just a dog. A golden retriever named Gus that I ended up taking with me. He's a good boy, Gus. Loyal. Doesn't laugh when you try to open up. In a way, he's the family I always wanted. A furry reminder of what could have been, without the sting of what wasn't. We used to call each other Pickle. I know, sounds ridiculous. It started because I once bought the wrong kind of pickles at the store, the sweet kind instead of dill. She made such a fuss, pretending I'd committed some cardinal sin. But then it just stuck. Hey, Pickle, she'd say, or I'd leave her little notes signed. Love, Pickle. Now, the word just makes me cringe. It's a reminder of how easily I tried to smooth things over, how desperate I was to make her happy, even over something as trivial as pickles. It's also a reminder of how performative our affection was. A silly nickname to mask a deeper disconnect. I remember when she quit her job. Said it was too stressful, that she deserved better. We could manage on my salary, she assured me. At the time, I bought it. Thought I was being supportive, empowering her to pursue her passions. Now, I see it for what it was, a power move. A way to make me completely responsible for her lifestyle, her happiness. A way to ensure she was always one step ahead, financially dependent on me, but emotionally detached. I rationalized it then as love, as being a good husband. Now, I recognize it as the beginning of the end. The moment I signed over my autonomy. It wasn't just the job, though. It was everything. If something went wrong, it was always someone else's fault. The traffic, the waiter, the weather. Never her. And the constant need for validation? Exhausting. She needed to be told she was beautiful, smart, funny, constantly. And God forbid I ever disagreed with her. Even on the smallest thing. It would turn into a full-blown argument. With tears and accusations and the inevitable silent treatment, I started walking on eggshells, afraid to say or do anything that might upset her. That's not a partnership. That's a hostage situation. But I'm not blameless. I stayed. I saw the red flags waving, but I ignored them. I kept telling myself things would get better, that she'd eventually appreciate me. I confused patience with weakness. I let her walk all over me because I was afraid of being alone, afraid of failing. afraid of admitting I'd made a mistake. So, I enabled her. I rewarded her bad behavior with my silence, my compliance, my unwavering support. In the end, I was just as responsible for the failure of our marriage as she was. Maybe even more so. It's been 5 years since I left. 5 years of quiet dinners with Gus, of awkward holiday gatherings, of carefully avoiding any mention of her. I haven't dated. Can't bring myself to trust anyone that deeply again. The thought of opening myself up to that kind of vulnerability, it terrifies me. I see couples holding hands, laughing together, and I feel a pang of something, not envy, exactly. More like a ghost limb, a phantom for something I know I can never have. Something Sarah took with her when she laughed. My faith in love and partnership. In the possibility of genuine connection. The truly absurd part? I spent years trying to be the perfect husband. The kind you see in those cheesy commercials. Bringing her flowers, cooking her dinner. Listening to her complain about her day. I thought that's what she wanted. Turns out, she didn't want perfect. She wanted a doormat. And the irony is, I became one trying to avoid being one. I've been over backwards so far. I snapped. Now, I look back and wonder if she ever saw me at all, or if I was just a prop in her carefully curated life. A supporting character in a story where she was always the star. The other day, I was at the grocery store, in the pickle aisle, naturally, and I saw a jar of those sweet pickles. The ones that started it all. For a split second, I almost bought them. Not because I wanted them, but because I wanted to understand. To taste what she tasted, to see what she saw. But then I stopped myself. Because some things are better left in the past. Some questions are better left unanswered. And some pickles are just a reminder of a love that was never really there. So here I am, 5 years later. Still single. Still a little broken. Still carrying the weight of that laughter. It's a strange thing, betrayal. It doesn't just break your heart. It chips away at your soul. Makes you question everything you thought you knew about yourself, about love, about life. I don't think I'll ever fully recover. I'll always have that little voice in the back of my head, whispering. She never respected you. And maybe that's okay. Maybe some wounds are meant to stay open. A constant reminder of the price you pay for believing in something that wasn't real. I'm not sure what else to say. This isn't some inspirational story about finding myself or learning to love again. It's just the truth. Raw, messy, and unflinchingly honest. I told you I'd tell it like it is. And I have. Maybe someone out there will hear this and feel a little less alone. Maybe someone will recognize the red flags sooner than I did. Maybe someone will finally understand that love isn't something you earn. It's something you give, and it should be given back. If it's not, walk away. Don't wait for the laughter. This section is designed to ensure the existing text maintains the established tone. And that's it. No grand pronouncements. No self-pitying monologues. Just the quiet truth of a life subtly, irrevocably altered. The kind of devastation that doesn't explode, but slowly seeps in, poisoning the well. I'm not angry, not anymore. Just empty, a little sad, a little embarrassed, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit wiser. But wisdom, I've learned, is a cold comfort on a lonely night. Especially when you're sharing your TV dinner with a golden retriever who looks at you with more genuine affection than your wife ever did. There's no happy ending here. No triumphant comeback. No sudden realization that I'm better off without her. Just a quiet acceptance of the fact that some things break, and they stay broken. Some people leave scars that never fade. And some laughter echoes long after the joke is forgotten. This is just a story about how I learned that the hard way. A cautionary tale, perhaps. A reminder that not all love stories have a fairy tale ending. Some just end, and you're left picking up the pieces, wondering what the hell just happened.